Today and yesterday marks the Day of Action of Domestic Violence Awareness. And as a member of Governor Cuomo's Domestic Violence Advisory Council appointed by Speaker Hasty, this is an issue that's not only professional for me, but it's personal. I myself am a survivor. In honor of today's and yesterday's action, we're all reviewing what we considered a very important group of legislation that will address multiple aspects of this issue, from non-discrimination against survivors of domestic violence to when and how survivors can claim damages, to the establishment of hospital protocols when it comes to treating survivors of domestic violence, to legislation that will allow survivors to be released from cell phone and cable TV contracts without penalty. In addition, there is a legislation that prohibits and/or keeps guns out of the hands of the abusers to avoid escalation, but also because many of the gun deaths each year are attributed to incidents of domestic violence. And another piece of legislation, more discretion would be granted to judges to re-sentence abusers that are already incarcerated. Although all these pieces of legislation are important, one that I am particularly interested in is requiring that people experiencing domestic violence be made aware of their rights. Currently, there is legislation that requires this information to be provided in English, in Spanish, which is also good. However, because domestic violence is prevalent in many other immigrant communities, I would also like to see that information be translated in the languages that serves these communities, such as my district, Haitian Creole. I am so glad to see this issue being looked at in many different agencies. We all can play a role in mitigating domestic violence by speaking out and having zero tolerance policies in place. And we can teach our children what healthy relationships look like by example, by talking about it, and as legislators, by holding abusers accountable.